All right. Parashat Re'eh. The name of the parasha, Re'eh, referred to us right away to a matter of seeing. Because lir'ot in Hebrew is to see. Re'eh is the root, Resh Aleph Hey. And according to Kabbalah, sight, Re'iyah, vision, and eyes refer to us to the sfera of Chokhmah. And that sfera is corresponding with a very raw and, should I say, initial and raw energy. Hey, Ishmael. And that is the light of Chokhmah, the light of wisdom of Chokhmah. And we are talking about a very strong type of energy, something that would really wrap us and engulf us throughout this whole entire week. The parasha starts with a pasuk, with a verse, Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom beracha uklala. See that I give you today a blessing and a curse. Now, the commentators already saw an issue with this, and they asked the question, why does the parasha starts with a singular tense, Re'eh, in other words, you as singular, Noten ani, I'll give you, lachem, I'll give you as plural. So why does it go plural and singular and plural? What's the issue with that? So the rabbi from Kotsk, the Kotzker Rav, says, Noten, I give lechulam, to everybody. I give to everybody netina b'midah shava. An equal portion I give to everyone, to all. But that giving that I give, in other words, that God gives, everybody sees it differently. Each person and his way to see it, to interpret it. Of course, we're not talking about the interpretation of the actual Torah, because that we have rules, otherwise we have anarchy. But we're talking about the whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you, whatever God gives you, it's basically up to you. And that seems like a very simple answer, but yet it is a very deep answer, very deep answer. Another commentator, the Sfat Emet, altogether is really amazed and mesmerized by the usage of the words blessing and a curse, bracha veklala, together as God gives you a blessing and a curse, of course, which by itself is a question. And he explains that the bracha, the blessing, and the curse are together combined and operate in the world in some kind of a mixture all the time. And both of them, God had put in this world to really check us up. What does it mean? To see the receptacle that each and every one of us would become. In other words, the kli that we all become. And why is that? Because it really measures who you are and what you're willing to do. Even if you're able to see bad things, are you going to be able to continue believing that you could fix it? There is a famous story about a town that they had teachers, doctors, lawyers, whatever. Everybody had them besides a person that could fix watches. And slowly, all the watches in the town broke. Finally, one day, a watchmaker came to town, and that's after years that nobody was there. And so everybody lined up and brought him their watches to fix. That watchmaker said, I cannot fix any of these watches besides this one guy. I don't know, let's give him a name. What will be his name? Shimon. Okay, besides Shimon is, Shauli, yeah, Shimon. Okay, let's be Shimon. Besides Shimon's watch. So everybody was wondering, what's so special about Shimon's watch? Rolex? No, it wasn't a Rolex. It was the attitude of Shimon. Shimon continued winding the clock even though it was not working every single day. So therefore it was always ready to be fixed. When you don't maintain it, you can reach a point that it's not going to be fixed. So that is to really measure and to see really, are you going to continue winding your clock or your watch, even though you know it's not broken, until you're actually going to be able to fix it, the opportunity comes to fix it. And that's, by the way, something to your life. Are you going to give up on your life when things don't work for you? Because, you know what, just like, let's hit the bottle, and it's like, let's take the gun and just, let's put it like this and just blow our brains out, because nothing will come up. Or, God forbid, this whole Jewish thing is not really for me. It's just like, I'm done with this. Let me throw the kippah out. I'm just done being a Jew. It doesn't work, man. I was promised miracles and so on. That is a test for you. That's a test for each and every one of us. And of course, it's a test also what we see that God is giving you. But what do you see in that giving? Do you see a blessing? Or do you see a curse? That's already up to you. And by the way, not for nothing, we read this parasha all the time in Parashat Mevarchim of Chodesh Elul. Ari, hit yourself some chulut. Eitan, you want some tea? I don't know if there is tea. You can get some tea. So, the Chodesh Elul comes to basically tell us one thing, and one thing for sure. We got to where we got today because we had choices on every one of our actions. Every action that we did brought us to where we are today. In other words, do not blame anybody for your situation. It was your decisions that you made. That's why in Elul we make tshuva. And that's amazing. So that's Parashat. The secret of that's called the wisdom, is hidden in this parasha, and this is how we're going to unravel and actually expose that great light to us as well. So basically, it all depends on how you see things and on your individual, personalized point of view. Are you able, with your deep observation, to be able to see the difference between the bracha, the blessing, or the curse, and by doing so, being able to make up the right decision? One right decision that I can tell you to do is what my grandfather Alav Shalom used to say. Being a kid and being in Israel, I have patience. I want to do everything fast. My grandfather Alav Shalom used to tell me, "Hamehirut mina Satan." Speed is from the devil, because you're going to fail. Take your time, think, calculate, and so on and so forth. And that was a heck of an advice, let me tell you that. When you go your age, you have a tendency to run, to finish, to do this, to do that. Why are you giving up those precious years that you have, instead of really maturing yourself like a good wine, like a good whiskey that has been mature in the barrel and then becomes flavor? Why are you so eager to spill that and just go quickly out? Let's get drunk, let's get going, let's move on. Wait. And that includes going to school. I'm a very big believer in people going to school and getting an education or getting some kind of a profession. I don't believe in just sitting down and doing nothing. I don't believe in that. Thank you. Oh, so a lot of tea. So, but I also need to tell you, don't rush. Need time to chill out, to actually, let's say you finish, for example, high school. Take a break. Think about what you want to do. Go on a vacation, go on a trip, let yourself mature. Don't run, don't try to finish college in a year and a half, because where you're running to? Then you're going to run to get married, then you're going to run for to where? Where you running with this? What's the big rush? There's no need to rush. There's need to shikul da'at, to weigh your mind, to think about what you're doing, why am I doing this, and so on and so forth. To contemplate on that, to be able to make a decision appropriately. For that, you need the chokhmah, you need the wisdom. For now, you need to reveal the light. For that, you need to be able to determine what's a bracha or what's a klala. But one thing for sure, don't rush. Divrei chachamim benachat nishmaim. Slowly, slowly. That's how you hear it. So that choice, that free choice that each and every one of us has. Now, that choice is us, whether you are Jew or Gentile, whether you are an observant Jew or a secular Jew. Every human being has a choice. We were made aware of this choice all the time. That's why Judaism is different than, let's say, Buddhism with the concept of karma. We don't believe in karma. We don't believe in luck. What do you mean luck? There's no such thing as luck. I was born with bad luck. There's no such thing. These are decisions that you made for yourself, or you allowed others to make for you. But don't complain. It was your choice. Ultimately, it was all your choice. So that ability to choose allows us to open a new page in our lives and gives us the ability, the koach, the strength to reach from this point a higher level. Even when things don't work, when you understand that and you accept it, that it was your choice, you can move up from here, not down. When you don't make the choices, when you blame other people, when you choose always not to make a choice, that is a bad choice. From that you can go all the way down, not up. When things don't work for you and you make that choice, this is when you turn the klala, the curse, chas v'shalom, into a bracha. As Resh Lakish says in Masechet Yoma, Daf. Wow! Right on the dot, Idan. Daf Peivav, kol hakavod. Wow! I want to ask you, Aleph or Bet. Yeah. It says Zedonot. It's the first time ever. First time ever. Yeah. Should make a l'chaim with water on that. Hold on one second. Wow. It says in Yoma Daf Peivav, Zdonot naasot lo keshchuyot. Whatever he did wrong actually turns out to be good. The Zohar tells us that the concept of riyah, of seeing, is close. It's something that happens close. See from close. And shmiyah, to hear, is from far, from a distance. In other words, in Nisan, Bnei Israel saw with their own eyes, right? Whatever happened. Shene'emar, because it says over there, Lo ispik betzekam shel avotenu lachmitz ad shenigla lehem melech makir amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Their dough was not able to ferment until God revealed himself to them. Nigla, revealed. Legalot is to reveal, to uncover. And only when you uncover, you can actually see. And it says, in Chodesh Iyar, only the bchina of shmiyah, and that is from far, was that when it's, And now the word natan or noten, you could read really as a palindrome from both sides. Nun taf nun, nun taf nun. You can read it from both sides. In other words, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you, ultimately it is only good. It is only good. And the reason is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world to make it, to do good with his, to be able to do good to his creation. So everything that God gives you is good. Now, how things could be a curse? Because you saw it as a curse. If you, for example, the famous story, I tell you this a million times. We always used to think about this during the times that they used to have suicide bombers in Israel on the buses and something like this. So imagine a guy goes, he's late to work, he sees the bus, he runs up to the bus, he misses the bus, he says, oh my goodness, what a cursed day. Oy vey, I'm going to get fired from work. Oy vey, as he oy veying around, all of a sudden the bus blows up. So it's a good day or a bad day?
Best day.
Well, it's probably a best day for him.
Yeah. No work.
No work, yeah. But the issue is that happened on a very short period of time. Most of the times we don't really see what was, what was actually good in the battle. For example, many people remember AIG, the big insurance company. So imagine a person was in that company, and a month before they went bust, he was fired. All right. So what can you do? Get fired. He goes get a job. He goes looking for a job. He gets a job. Starts a new job. Before you know, a month later, everybody gets fired. Now he has a job. Everybody else doesn't have a job. So the fact that he was fired was good or bad? Good. Actually good. It all depends how you see it. And that's what Rav Ish Nachum Ish Gamzu said. Gamzu letova. This is also good. It doesn't mean that I understand it. I don't have to understand everything. Not everything has to be explained to me. But I know that this is good. I know that this is good. I see the goodness in it. It's very interesting that many times people who are more poor or are not so able to see the goodness that they have than people that have so much and are never happy. Of course, there are some poor people who just also like to complain, but that's beyond that. You always see the happiness in your, B'ezrat Hashem, you guys get married, and so on and so forth. And you're going to, and I hope that you're not going to have a house right away because it's a curse. Yeah. I hope that you'll get yourself, probably the best thing for a newly wed couple is to get a studio apartment. I wanted to get a studio apartment. Why? Because I wanted to see my wife everywhere I go. I don't want to come to a house and we have 4 bedrooms and she's in one room and I'm in another room and this one in the other room. And then you move from there. As the family grows, you move from there. But at the beginning, stay in a studio apartment. You stay there for a year, move to a 1-bedroom. All of a sudden you feel great. But you go right away to a 3-bedroom apartment, a 3-bedroom house. Where are you going to go from there? Nothing's going to be good for you at this point. Nothing. Start modest. Climb yourself up. See the bracha, and that will help you actually concentrate on the bracha that you have, that you just got married. And then you get another bracha. Oh, I got a house. But if you get a house right away, where's the bracha in that? You have no bracha. Oh, all of a sudden you become a very bitter person. That's why they say, Sonem matanot techiyeh. Don't get, the more expensive the gift, the more you should refuse it. The more expensive the gift, the more you should refuse it. Because a person that only likes freebies and so on and so forth ends up to be a person who is miserable. Going to be an angry, miserable person. You want something? Not a problem. Work. How much do I have to work for it? So, you know what? I don't really need it. You just won. You just won. And we'll talk maybe, B'ezrat Hashem, a little bit about it later. So, the ashpa'ah, the influence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to us is only good. And that's why the bracha or the klala, the blessing or the curse, or in other words, the way in which we relate to reality is in our control, and we are the one who determine it. We are the one who determine it. The Ohev Israel, the rabbi from Opet, calls this the emet ve'hasheker, the truth or the lie or the false. In other words, the way in which we refer to situation and we reacted to situations in our lives, right? That's how it is. So the sheker would be, the lie would be dealing with really nonsense, with the minutiae, with little things that are really not important, with the small details of life, who said to who, right? Oh, the gossip, the tabloids, the why do they do this to me, and why is it, and so on and so forth. The anger, the frustration, the giving up, to feel sorry for yourself. Oh, poor me. What are you, Eeyore? Oh, poor me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Oh, poor me. Are you alive, man? What are you complaining about? That's the sheker. That's the false that we live in our lives. And it is sometimes, I'm going to tell you this, deliberately implanted in our lives, because once we'll give up, therefore we are in control of whoever, and the powers that be. If you are a person who is optimistic and lives a truthful life, nobody has control over you. You are a free man. You want to do yourself a favor? Disconnect yourself from all this garbage. No Facebook, no whatever they call it nowadays, no Twitter, Schmitter, X, W, XYZ, you know. All these things, whatever you disconnect yourself from all the news media. No news. You don't care who's running for presidency. You don't care who's running for governor. You don't care. You don't listen to this. It's just making you dealing with absolutely not important things. It would occupy you to simply deter you from dealing with the real issues of life. So stop listening to this. There's nothing you can do to change it anyway, the way you are going. So the truth is where we're able to put into these situations the light, which is the purpose of our life. And for that, we really need to be focused all the time in our thought on what is the truth and what is really truthful. The vessel that we are talking about, where the light is present all the time, is with us, within us all the time. And we need to understand that all the time we are under this illuminating light of Re'eh Anochi, see me. In other words, God telling you, look at me, see me all the time, don't give up. See me all the time. In other words, this endless light that is a non-discriminating light. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I give nourishment from the eggs of lice to dinosaurs. And everything is in between. All human beings, all creatures of the world, all trees and planets, and everything, I give it nourishments endlessly and unconditionally. Don't think you're so privileged. Now, there are, of course, what do we do with this kind of light? What do we actually do with it? So the Mekubalim explain to us there are two different types of light. There's what we call Or de Chokhmah, light of wisdom, or there is it's also called Or Yashar, directive light or direct light, and there's Or Choser, reflective light. And Or Yashar is what we call Or de Chokhmah, which is a very concentrating raw energy that by nature it burns and it consumes, almost like when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of the cave. That's what exactly happened there. This kind of a light. He had a tremendous revelation. He was exposed to all the Chokhmah. That's what it was. So even though, and also, by the way, this light is also called Or HaChaim, the light of life. And the only way to receive this light of Chokhmah and to really hold it is to really to acknowledge that it's not yours. It's absolutely not yours. And we don't have anything, or anything that we have is only what we give to others. If you have wisdom, it's only because you share this wisdom with others. We don't have the ability, and when we do so, by the way, when we do get this light and we become the receptacle, and then we share it with others, then we create a more diffuse light. It's called Or Choser, reflective light. And that is Choser. And that's how the light comes back to us in our lives. Because we create a better society all around us. A society of giving, of sharing, of caring. Not like we have it today. And if you want to have power, you want to have light, you want to have great magnitude, you need to make sure, you want to have money. You need to make sure that everybody else does. You need to make sure everybody else does. When we go into a state of trying to consume to ourselves all the power, become power hungry, we become control hungry, we turn into tyrants, into dictators. And as a result of that, there's no light in the life, there's only consuming light, which is a deterioration of society. Look at North Korea and all the other places like this. All these people, or anywhere else that you have, even here in America, when we have people who are power hungry and control hungry, that only brings darkness into the place, does not bring light. You need to make sure everybody else is feeling good. I'm not feeling good by giving them joints, yeah? I'm talking about feeling good in terms of seeing the light, sharing, caring, and so on and so forth. And the reason is because we cannot allow ourselves, we can't afford it, we can't contain to be the end, the sof, the end. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one of his Kabbalistic nicknames is Ein Sof, endless, no bottom. He always gives and gives and gives and gives. Because if you're going to do that, you're going to fall into a kli that is the end, the bottom, and that is selfishness, very, stingy, cheap, and so on and so forth. So usually cheap people are also selfish. You should know that. And that's something you should come away from and run away from. Now, we are talking about other things in this parasha as well, but it has to do with what we're saying. And one of them is the false prophet. Nevi HaShega. How is it possible that a person who is a prophet, right, how could it be possible? He's a liar. How could it be? It's just impossible. Something doesn't make sense. Of course, we have the concept, she'en adam mesim atzmo rasha. I'm sure we all know this. A person is not, we don't believe a person that tries to incriminate himself. Right? We don't believe that. And then the meaning of this rule is, en adam mesim atzmo rasha, is a person cannot incriminate himself, and if he comes to Beit Din, we don't accept, to Jewish court, we don't accept that testimony that he gives on himself. And the reason, according to the Rambam, is because a person in relation to himself could have some kind of ulterior motive, for whatever reason that is, and the motive of that is, listen, we all know we're going to die, so we try to deny it one way or another, and not to deal with it or to avoid it. And some people, they want to die. But everybody has a reason. So I'm going to lie about something that I did, or I'm going to say something that I did, but I don't believe it because your proof is not clear. The way that you look at it is not clear. And that, whatever purpose that is, whatever reason it is, whatever, how should I say it? I wouldn't say alibi. Like how do you call it? The reason you do things. How do you call it in a judicial thing? Where's Josh? Where's Josh the lawyer? The motive. Okay, every motive that you have would direct you from the truth, and that's why it would puzzle the testimony. It would cancel the testimony, and it won't be good. Another reason for En Adam Mesim Atzmo Rasha is maybe that even kind of contradicts the Rambam, or is a person needs a testimony that's completely neutral. And when a person takes a position on himself, it is near impossible to become neutral because you have your own motives. And you have an interest to live. You don't want to die. I mean, of course, as we said, some people won't commit suicide, but a person doesn't want to inflict punishment on himself. Flacking, getting whacked. A person doesn't want to suffer. So a person cannot make himself into a rasha, because if it is going to be a rasha, they're going to kill him, and he is going to give now us a testimony that's going to make him a rasha in order for him to die. So in the pathology of such a thing, there's something wrong. Because in the pathology of things, there's something wrong. Beit Din, the Jewish court, cannot accept it. There's something wrong with that. As much as you would say, for example, if a person is insane, right? Well, you can't give him the death penalty. He's insane. So by you telling I did something wrong, the Torah believes in the goodness. Judaism believes in the willingness of the person to do good and to be good. So it doesn't make sense that you said, I did something wrong, to incriminate yourself. You should say, I did something wrong to Hashem when you do tshuva. Say, chatati, aviti, and so on and so forth. So if we're going to go back to the parasha of the Navi, comes the Navi, and he demands from the prophet, demands from the people to go in a certain way, and he does all kind of magic, or like things. I don't know. He turns water into bourbon. Water into bourbon. That's actually a good thing. Water into bourbon. That's a good miracle. Anyway, I don't know. He walks on water. He flies in the air. I don't know. Flies on carpet. He's Aladdin. Whatever he does, any of these things, and those miracles supposed to give some kind of support to his position, to what he's doing, and so on and so forth, and his demand. And in a way that Ot and Mofet, those miracles, are my witnesses that what I'm telling you is the truth. Here, you see, I see a reel here, I'm going to turn it into a bunny rabbit. Bam! Wow! Okay, you see? So what I tell you is right. Please, everybody, just take your money out and just give me the money, hands up in the air, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So by itself, those miracles that he's doing are false. And why is that? Because every person has his own identity. And the identity of Jewish people who keep the Torah is the emunah, the belief in God. That's who we are. So if you tell me in a way, when what I'm telling you might sound very harsh to you, but if you tell me that you don't believe in God, don't you dare to tell me that you're a Jew just like me, because it's not. It doesn't mean that I cannot fall and stumble or do the wrong thing, but I am a person who believes in God. And that's what makes me into a Jew. Of course, doing the mitzvot and so on and so forth. But you can't hold the stick in both hands, baby. If you cannot come to tell me I don't believe in God, and then want to get an aliyah to get a kaddish for your father, that probably you should leave him alone altogether. Do you believe in God? Yes. Okay, so why won't you do it? Oh, it's not for me. Not for you. Sorry. Out. What do you mean you don't believe in God? Do you do or you don't? Yes or no? What's going to be, boy? Yes? Or then you say, let me think of it. For sure, you're not going to see paradise, not on the dashboard lights, and you're not going to see paradise whatsoever anywhere. You ain't going to see nothing. That's a guarantee. So when comes the prophet and he tells you to go and worship other gods or change a word from the Torah, that's why the whole Christian claim of the Jews manipulate the Torah and this and the two. It's such a stupid claim, because if I have one letter that it's broken in the Torah is possible to change the Torah, take words. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, you got to be an absolutely ignorant person to say such a thing. So we need to understand and we need to acknowledge that in terms of us, in terms of who we are in the identity. Now, another reason why the Navi is called Navi Sheker, because the prophecy does come to him. He is a Navi, a prophecy comes to him. But the way he brings about the prophecy done to us is manipulated because of self-interest. When Yirmiyahu, a Navi, Jeremiah, not the bullfrog, the prophet, gave the prophecy for the people, they put him in jail. He didn't care about himself. He was right. And he on the way to Bavel, tell him, guys, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Don't give up. He gave it to us as it is. Well, I mean, to be a prophet among Jews is a terrible thing. It's probably the worst job, probably equal to be a rabbi. It's the most ungrateful thing. You tell people things they don't want to hear. You need to be able to tell people the truth. And you as a rabbi also should be able to tell the people the truth the way it should be, not the way that would serve you for whatever purpose. If they tell you, listen, Rabbi, you're too stuck for us, please leave, but say what you need to say. Happened to somebody who was very close to me. And he went to a place, and they wanted the rabbi, there's going to be a puppet. And he told them what he needs to tell them. And they said, listen, you're not for us. I said, okay, let me just finish telling you what I'm telling you. And he told them. And then after, I don't know, 2 months or something like this, he left. You need to be able to say that. And so therefore, if you see a person or a rabbi that tells you all the things you want to hear all the time and never tells you anything wrong, you probably got yourself a bad deal. I'm saying, don't just get a guy who tells you everything is bad, you're bad. I mean, but tell me I'm bad and tell me how to fix it. Teach me. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Don't be selfish in terms of that. So comes the prophet, comes the Navi, and he says, well, I'm going to tell him this. Look what you do to Yirmiyahu. They put him in jail, man. I'm not going to say that. He does something else. Tells you to do something else. That's already, it changes this a little bit. And thus he becomes a false prophet. He doesn't reflect, in prophecy, we know that prophecy also has a certain reflection of the individual of the person, the individuality. But that individuality does not change the essence of the prophecy itself. It could be a little bit softer. We know the story in the Gemara when Bnei Israel looking for a prophet, Yirmiyahu was not around. Where was Yirmiyahu? Well, they went to Huldah. So one explanation, Huldah was his niece. So one of the explanations is, why did they go to Huldah, not to Yirmiyahu? I mean, Yirmiyahu was the prophet, so you need to go to the biggest, scholar around. Why you go to her? So one explanation is, well, Yirmiyahu went to collect whatever remnants of the 10 tribes to bring him in, so it was always going to be among the body of the Jews a remnant or a representative of all the tribes of Israel. Most of them didn't want to come back, but some he was able to bring back. Another explanation of the Gemara is because she was a woman, she was softer, so she did not make the nevuah so harsh. She didn't change the nevuah, she just put her own individual, and that's allowed in terms of that, but don't change it. And that's what, unfortunately, the conservative and reform movement have done. They change it because of ulterior motives, and that's why they are not so much here today. And we got to remember, got to stay loyal to the text. You're allowed to have your interpretation as long as you stay loyal to the text. And that's what we celebrate in the Gemara, is celebration of opinions. That's why we celebrate the Shulchan Aruch, even if they don't agree with one another. The opinion is still important. The opinion still needs to be accounted for, because that's how noten lachem, I gave you. Each one can interpret it like this. One person is more din, and one is more chesed, and so on and so forth. We're almost done. So, by doing so, a person, lo mesim atzmo rasha, in other words, he does not really contradict his own identity, his own as a person who believes in Hashem, who believes in the Torah. So therefore we don't believe him. One of the downsides of our society, which are postmodern society, is those issues of identities, right? Is like stuff in supermarket, By the way, supermarkets are very bad for you. I mean, they're great, don't get me wrong. Supermarkets are bad. Because if you don't really understand where they're coming from, you might think that things grow on shelves. And because they grow on shelves, you don't really appreciate it, and then you throw it away. But together with that supermarket mentality, we also have supermarket mentality of identities of who we are as people. And we could change it every time according to our needs. Just like, sometimes, you buy ingredients for cake, and sometimes you buy ingredients for roast beef. Sometimes you buy sushi, sometimes you buy this. So the same thing here. Whatever serves me, I'll change it. One way that it happened, and it happened before in Jewish life or Jewish history, is the concept of I'm a Jew at home and German out. I'm changing the identity. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And one time I put this hat, one time I put that hat, one time I put this hat, one time I put that hat. The difference between that and the Jews in Spain during the golden era of Spain is they did everything as Jews. There were poets and singers and rabbis and merchants and whatever, but they always did so from a point of strength as Jews. They never gave up their identity. Today that we have this supermarket of identities and we change it, if you are neutral to them, you pick, well, whatever I feel like it, yalla, I feel like it, right? Whatever suits me this hour, okay, what do you feel like eating today? I don't know, okay, let's take some baguettes, we put cheese, okay, yalla, let's go, bye. That's what we do, right? But if there's something that you really, for example, they have a need, so you're going to look for whatever serves you. You go to your local supermarket to get what you need. So let's say I need a little bit of quiet in my life, to let down the anxiety. So where I'm going to go? I'm going to go to mindfulness. I'm going to go to Buddhism. I'm going to, every moron thinks that meditation is like this. It has nothing to do with that. You could be very fine sitting down on a chair like this, completely in a meditative state, coming out of this world, and you don't need to sit like this with crossing your legs, especially if you have bad hips. Like this. Nonsense. Okay? Or a person meditates. Namaste. Right? It's a thing. So, that's going to go like this, or I need a little bit more to get into my body in a harmony, so let me do some yoga. Right? I'll pick that up. I need a little bit of spiritual uplifting. So let me listen to some Georgian chants of Georgian monks' chants. Have you ever heard this thing? It's so divine. It sounds like some people say that's how the Levim in Bet HaMikdash sang. Okay, but whatever gets you through the night. So I'm going to put like Ave Maria of Schubert, whoever put I'm going shopping for what I want, giving up my identity. I want to feel sometimes a little bit of Jewishness, right? Because I miss the Jewish point. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to a non-kosher Jewish deli. That unfortunately there are very few in New York that are kosher anymore. I'll go to some deli. I'm going to eat my corned beef pastrami sandwich, non-kosher, with mushroom barley soup, and have a sour pickle, have a Heineken, and I'm just get Jewish. Or just for good measures, I'm going to go Yom Kippur. I'm going to buy a couple of aliyahs, open the Sefer Torah. I hear the shofar. I paid my dues in Rosh Hashanah. I paid my dues. I heard the shofar. There's some people who don't come Rosh Hashanah. They come at the end of Yom Kippur. End of Yom Kippur, I don't know where all these Jews are coming from. All of a sudden, they're hanging off from the ceilings. I hear the shofar. I did my Jewish fulfillment. I blow the shofar. I heard the shofar. That's it. I go according to what it is, instead of creating a solid identity of something that is, and we all have it, we all Jews. And then also has to go with the way you look. I want to be more cool, so guess what? I'm not going to put a kippah on my head. I'm going to get a certain haircut to be cool. I'm going to wear a certain type of jeans. I'm going to wear this. I don't want to be who I am. Man, you can't going to go anywhere like that. You can't. And you fail. And that's why our environment is full of failures and losers. Because they can't even be themselves. Instead of looking around, and connecting to my identity, connecting to my people, connecting to really who I am, I fail. When I don't do so, I fail. The Jewish thing to do is chesed. When we don't help those forces to direct our lives in terms of making other people feel good, making other people feel better, helping people with a job, seeing a person, it has nothing to do with a Jew or non-Jew. It has to do with you helping other people, with you caring about your environment. If you would go and you start growing your own vegetables, you will have appreciation for them. You won't throw it away. Even the peels, you're going to make compost. But you go to the supermarket, you go like this, and we went to the supermarket of identities, and we threw who we are. The whole issue of identity today became so bad, you're not allowed to have an identity, or it's so Wild West, you can identify yourself as whatever you want. But deny yourself, but become whoever you are. Yeah, your X chromosome or Y chromosome does not make any difference whatsoever. You feel like a giraffe, you'll be a giraffe. Of course, if I want to feel myself, if I want to identify myself, of course, when it comes to money, if I want to identify myself as a black person, oh, I can't do that because, hey, that cannot be done. Why? Because it's a group that people like to control. Oh, maybe I would identify myself as a Native American. Oh, no, you can't. That you can be. But why? If I would identify myself as a woman, that will be okay, but a Native American, I can't. That's how I want to be, not Pocahontas. I want to be, I don't know, Chief Thundering Belly. I don't know, whatever I'm going to be, you know. No, that you can be. They're going to control your identity. You need to get back to your identity. And one way to get back to your identity is learning how to give, to contribute, to care, to bring this into your life, this Jewish things, not to be selfish. And then, only then, the shefa that comes from you, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is going to be a bracha. It's going to be, the shefa that comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is greater than Niagara Falls. If you are very thirsty, you cannot hold a cup under Niagara Falls and fill it up with water. You need some kind of a diversion over there. And then you're going to tell me the water is a curse. But no, it's just because you can't receive that. The way to receive it is we're going to create a world of truth. And the truth starts with ourselves. We're not really denying who we are. The fact is that we say Yirat Shamayim is not necessarily the fear of God, but rather the awe in order for me to see. Re'eh Yirah, almost the same root. Yirat Shamayim, I see the heavens. I see God in everything that I do. I see God in everything that I have. And that's why I don't desire what you have. I'm very happy with what I have. But if I want to control you, I'm going to tell you, you should have what he has. And then you lose control, and then I control you, and then we all are what we are. So let's try to bring this into our lives this week. Shabbat Mevarchim HaChodesh. Next Thursday, Be'ezrat Hashem, is Rosh Chodesh Elul. Rabotai, Rosh Hashanah is around the corner. You were laughing at me when I told you in Chanukah that Pesach is around the corner. Before you know, after Pesach, Rosh Hashanah is here. Well, it's right here. And it went like this. We don't have time. We don't know how much time we have, and we don't have the time to spare. So we need to make sure to start putting into our lives meaning, Jewish identity, and above all, the truth. Above all, we need to see God in everything that we do and in everything that we have. Shabbat Shalom.